All right, welcome to the fourth OnShape Drawing assignment. This one's going to be a little bit harder. We have a few features like a hole in a specific location. We've got some extra extrusions. We got a chamfer going across the top. Right, and you will be given a drawing that looks like this, and you'll have to reproduce that object. Okay, so looking at number one, the first thing we want to do is determine how tall our object is and how wide it is. Right, so we could do that by looking at our front view. So our object is 3 inches by 2 inches. So let's start that first, right? So let's go to Documents, create a new document called Drawing 4, and hit OK. From there, you're going to start a new sketch on the front plane, and we're simply going to draw a rectangle. Oh, I missed the origin point. Let's make sure we start on the origin. Draw a rectangle that is 2 inches wide by 3 inches tall. All right, so we have our overall drawing size, but obviously we need to figure out a few things like how thick is it overall, and does it need to be extruded in overall width, right? So we're looking at our side for our depth profile, right? So overall it's 1.5, so we can either choose to extrude it the entire 1.5, or it looks like coming up from this line it is 0.5, half of an inch thick just on this part, right? So that means that this part down here, if we do a little math, if this is 0.5 and this is 1.5, we know that this is 1 inch, right? So I'm just going to extrude it 0.5, and then we'll just build a little rectangle off the front, and we'll extrude that 1 inch, right? So let's do that. I'm going to extrude this rectangle, change my depth to 0.5, and hit OK. Right, and then we got our back profile there. So I said I wanted to build a small rectangle off of the front of it. How big does that rectangle have to be? So it looks like it is 1 inch, and it's all the way across, so we know that's 2 inches. So it's 2 inches tall by, 1 inch tall by 2 inches. So I'm going to go back into OnShape here, go to Sketch, select my front face, rectangle tool, and I found that OnShape doesn't like if you tell it that it's 2 inches both times, right? So if I bring my rectangle out all the way to the other edge, it'll stop at 2. And I'm going to bring this up. Now you can sit here all day and try to get it to 1, and I got it to 1 actually pretty easily. But ideally, what you want to do is click. If you hit enter on 2 here, it's going to error. But if you move your mouse over and don't click it, just highlight it and just type 1 and hit enter, it'll work. But if you change that number, it'll error that rectangle and turn red, because it's saying that from here to here is 2, and if you try to change that, it's trying to change this as well. Not a huge fan of that from OnShape, but it is what it is. So that's all I'm going to do on this sketch, because I need to extrude this out. And how far do I extrude it out? We did a little math there, right? 0.5, I need to bring it out to meet 1.5, so I'm going to bring it out 1 inch. Right, and it already did it for me because 1 inch is the default. So I'll hit OK. So next we have a few options. We can start to figure out where our hole is, or we can add that chamfer up top, either or. Let's start with the chamfer. It's pretty easy. So some information about the chamfer. It's going up at an angle of 45 degrees. right? And the measurement is halfway across our overall depth. So it starts and then it's 0.25 inches long. So with those two, we can figure out how to create it very easily. So I'm going to go back to my drawing. This one you don't even need to start a sketch. You can come up here to the chamfer tool. If you can't see the chamfer tool, you may need to zoom in or out. But I'm going to click the chamfer tool, and default is 0.2 inches. But if I hover this edge that I want to chamfer, right, it'll glow that yellow-orange color. If I click it, it'll flatten it for me, right? And I need the distance to be 0.25 inches. And it automatically makes it 45 degrees for you. Right, so I'm just going to chamfer this 0.25 and hit the check. Right, and that's actually it to add that chamfer. It's easier than it looks. And you could chamfer any edge you want. I mean, we don't need to, but technically you could do all of these. Right, you don't need to do that. Don't do that. But next thing we need to do is add that hole. So there's two different ways to make a hole. There is the hole feature, or there is just making a sketch and drawing your hole. Doesn't matter which one you use, but for this one I'm just going to draw a sketch because I'm pretty quick at it, right? So I'm going to select the face as the top of that little shelf area. Rotate so I'm looking at my top. And I'm going to select the center point circle tool, or C on your keyboard. And I'm going to purposefully not put this in the center, but you want to try and get it near the center, so I'll just make it off center here. Right? And I'm going to draw a circle. But oh wait, we didn't look. How big is this circle? Let's go back. So over here we have some important dimensions looking down from the top. We have this universal sign for diameter. Diameter of a circle is the measurement from one side to the other. So that means that the measurement or the diameter of this circle is 0.5 inches. And then the other dimensions that we have here, 0.5 inches from the front and 1 inch from this side. Okay, so some important dimensions there. All right, so again, I'm going to draw my circle. I'm going to drag it out, click, and I know that this circle needs to be 0.5 inches in diameter. And you'll see that it'll draw that sign again, right? That is diameter. So I look kind of centered. It's not too bad, but I need to make sure. So I'm going to hit D for dimension, or go to the dimension tool up here. And I'm going to click my center point. And over here, move it off my object. And I was very close, 0.996 in fact, whenever it should be 1, and that's the center of this object. Right? So now I need to move it 0.5 from the front of this. So I'm going to click the center point, click the bottom point, drag my dimension off of my object, drop it. I was very close there too, 0.51. It should be 0.5. Enter. And now that is centered on your drawing. Okay, so I'll hit the check mark. And I'm going to hit extrude and select that circle. And it wants to grow. Now just like in the drawing assignment number 2, we have to change some things in here. So we have new, add, remove, intersect. We're going to remove, right? And by default, it'll go an inch. This happens to be an inch, so it'll go all the way through, right? So if you needed to make it longer, you would, but you shouldn't. 1 inch should go all the way through. You'll hit the check mark. Turn off your faces here. And you are finished. The last thing you're going to do I actually found an easier way to make a drawing without having to create that V1 thing. So within your part file here, before you share it, what you're going to do is hit this plus insert new element down in the bottom left. Go to create drawing. You should have that recently opened ANSI 8-inch. Hit OK. And what it does is it pulls in your part instantly. So all you have to do is click it, and then it'll let you place it. So OnShape automatically detects if your object is too big to fit on this paper. So it automatically changes your view scale to 1 to 2. So what that means is every ½ inch on the paper is 1 inch in real life. So it's half the scale. Right? So that's why it looks so tiny whenever it should be bigger. If you change it to 1 to 1, it makes it the real size, but you can't fit all the views on there in the rectangle. So we do have to go half. Right? And then where it says view simplification, you can just put none. Yeah, leave it at none. So remember, you want to put this in the bottom left quadrant. The quadrants come from, pretend like this line is coming across, pretend like that line's coming across, right? So front view, bottom left, top view, top left, side view, you'll have to click that again to grab it, side view, bottom right, click it again, isometric view, top right. All right, so then you'll start to add your dimensions, and you'll be able to use the dimension sheet to figure out which dimensions you need. The only thing that you need to add from here is a center point, and you do that by going here, center mark, and you're going to click right on your circle to create that center mark, and that's how you get to your actual dimension points for the location of that circle, location of that hole rather. All right, when you're finished, you're going to share it, change the team, and select your class. Good luck. If you need help, I am in Teams.